It's really hard to have what I would call the hard talks when you're right in the middle of a crisis. What I would suggest to you, if you can sit down, if you're a couple, sit down with your partner and have some of the hard talks before the crisis arrives. I'm amazed at what most people would write off as coincidences, which I'm coming to see more synchronicity. And I look back, and one of the synchronicities before my wife Carol was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, probably 6 weeks before, we sit down and had a talk about what if one of us got cancer, what would we do? And she had said at that time, if I was ever diagnosed with cancer, I would go for conventional treatment first and keep the option of alternative medicine if the cancer came back. And some people say, why in the world would you have a conversation like that? Well, cancer is prevalent in our society. If you start looking around, it's one of the things that seems like it's everywhere. And so we had the conversation. And as I said, weeks or maybe a few months after that conversation, we were sitting in the surgeon's office, and indeed she had cancer. And he asked her, he says, okay, this is the course of action we recommend. And she was a little hesitant. He says, if this is going to work, you have to be all in. She'd already thought about it. She'd made a decision at a time when it wasn't a crisis. We were just sitting down and having a conversation. So her response to him, I'm all in, because she'd already thought about it. So over the next few weeks, more and more I'm going to encourage you, have the hard conversations. It's much easier to talk about these life and death decisions or situations over a cup of coffee and kitchen table before you're confronted with the issue. But more and more people are really reluctant to have the hard talks. I would encourage you, have the hard talks. Be willing to sit down and talk about the possibilities of some of the things that can happen. Come to the place of accepting, okay, if this is what happens, and it could, then this is what I would want to do. Acceptance, again, is a key for me. Acceptance is really an awesome force.